Happy morning, Academy. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us and thanks for listening in. And this is the podcast where we talk about happiness, success, full potential. I'm doing this on a weekend morning. I usually do this during the week on the weekdays, but I missed a day yesterday, so I wanted to jump back and patch it in. The consistency is powerful, and we have to show up, and we have to show up every day. And if for some reason we don't get to show up, we got to make up for that time. So I am inspired this morning to talk about 3 things that is going to help you in tough times. I know there's a recession, there are bad times coming, their inflation rate is getting out of control. We're just coming out of the COVID pandemic. I don't know when you're listening to this. This is 2022. Mid 2022, but this is digital content. You could listen to this 10 years from now, but this is evergreen, meaning that it is applicable no matter what tough times you're in. It is easy to get caught up in the propaganda and the fear-based news system, whereby everything is sensationalized and it is used to as marketing to get businesses like the media to make their money, to hold your attention and to get you fearful and scared, so that you can continue to feed on that. Because what people do oftentimes when they're scared, they feed that fear, and they are skillfully pulled into a loop with the news, whereby there's another open loop open in the mind for you to continue to listen to that information. And as you listen to that information, what you do when it's either fight or flight type of situation. So you are going to get stuck. You're going to go the opposite direction, and you're going to follow that trend of thought that make you feel that it is hopeless, because that's a comfortable way, and that's what everybody is proposing, and that's what you're made to believe by these persuasive pundits who are actually in the business of making you fearful and making you listen to that stuff. But it's not a matter of opinion, it's a matter of fact that there is a better way. And all throughout recorded history, there has been good times and bad times. The good times follow the bad times follow the good times. Every 10 years there's an economic meltdown in bigger economies, and we are, and many people have been saying it, that it has been overdue. The last meltdown in the US economy was 2008. This is 2022. It took 14 years. We got to jump on it. That's fine. It still happened. And it's still, the shift is here. What do you do? I'll tell you this quick story to kind of open it up for you. So when I was younger, there was a cupboard in the dining room of sorts. We had a dining room of sorts that nobody used, and a kitchen that nobody used. It was on the house, but what we had was an outside kitchen that we used wood fire and all that stuff. That's a different story. But one evening, my grandmother sent me for a container that I couldn't reach by just standing and stretching for it. So I was almost almost tall enough. So I started to jump to kind of pull it my way to be able to reach it. I wasn't tall enough, and I didn't want to use a chair to stand on to get it. I was being lazy. I wanted to just jump and catch it. Jumping. After several attempts, I touched it, and it came right off, got out of control on the ground. All the sugar that was in it on the ground. The container was like China, and it just smashed. And needless to say, my grandmother was livid. And the lesson that taught me as I went on in life is that if you don't possess the attributes, the resources, the knowledge that you need to access something, to get to something that is desirable, like I was trying to reach the sugar container, you either have to leverage someone else height. You could ask someone else to help you get it, somebody who has the height, or you have a mechanism that can leverage you to get to it. Like I should have gotten a chair. In this case, if you don't have the information as to how to leverage your way out of the bad times, you need to get the information. If you try to hack it, if you try to force, jump, and skip the steps, you will be punished. Because you need the foundational knowledge to move forward, on which to stand on as your starting point. Trying to operate at stage 6 when you have stage 1 system and information will only mean trouble for you in the long run. You might be able to get to some point, but you won't be able to sustain it. And it can be dangerous when you get to a high level and you cannot sustain it. In other words, you have to go through the stages. You have to go through the seasons. You have to get the information. And in tough times, what you need is the information. The information is going to lay your foundation. Because what tough times does, tough times show up mediocrity. If you're average, if you're mediocre, tough times is going to expose you. As Warren Buffett loves to say, when the tide goes out, everybody will know who is skinny dipping. The money that is in the system didn't suddenly disappear or got taken out. All the economic activities and the money is still in the system. So when bad times come, it's not that the money disappeared or went somewhere or somebody burned it or whatever. What happened is that there is a shift, and the people who have the foundation, the people who are running their businesses and their lives based on principles, are the ones that end up with the money. There is a disproportionate distribution of resources. Some people have it, less people have it, and most people don't. And the people who don't have it is because of the flaws in their strategies and their way of doing things, way of doing business, ways of living. And because there's a crunch, because it now comes down to the best of the best. All those who are not good enough to have enough is exposed. And then panic ricochets through the system. The lack of confidence does the rest. Most times inflation and the blow up of the market, whatever market, whether the stock market, the commodity market, all of that stuff, is 80% consumer confidence. Once consumers' emotions start to play into it, it's a multiplier effect on whatever is happening. Meaning that if gas prices start to go up and there's a justified reason why gas prices start to go up, the guy who is selling gas, if he's going to sell it at, if he can make the same amount of profit at adding 10% to it, it's not going to add 10%. It's going to add 12, 13, or 14 because he's taking advantage of the consumer's thinking and cognitive awareness that prices are going up. Nobody knows how to quantify what level it should go at. There's no legislator or regulator or framework to say, hey, hold it at these prices. So they just capitalize on the opening or the opportunity to increase the prices. Now, once that starts, then people start to say, okay, this is going to get affected, that's going to get affected in this type of way. And you start to see people start to make decisions that are more conservative. Once this decision, but without all these numbers start to take form and to play out, just how people start to perceive it, then they start to make their moves. And that domino effect start to trickle out into the economy as a whole. Now, how you're going to approach this, and how you're going to win, and how you're going to survive, and how you're going to stay wealthy or keep your finances in order or your life in order in these times is heavily based on the information that you have. How do you understand this? Do you understand what's going on? Do you know what to expect? Do you know how to analyze the situation? And once you have that information, it's how you interpret this. How do you stock it in your head? Are you following the news and just listening to the next guy who's saying this and listen to the other person who's saying this? Or do you have the right knowledge? Have you done the work to understand how it actually is going to play out, or how it usually play out, or what's likely to happen? I'm not sending to school to do a course and to be a nerd in this thing. I'm just saying that there are basic tenets, basic information that you need to know to help you, to sustain you, to help you to capitalize. Once you get that information, it's your decision to take action on the information you have that is going to be the determining factor of how you weather the storm. Are you going to skill up? Are you going to diversify? Are you going to cut back in one area and put in the other area? Are you ready to adjust yourself? Now, the only way, and this is why I'm talking about this, the only way you can adjust, pivot, take action, make the right moves without getting burned is if you have the right information on how to proceed, how to handle stuff, how to make it work, how to maneuver. If you don't know what to do, if you don't understand what you're doing, you could be wiped out. Many people wiped out. Like this guy I follow on YouTube, they call him the Dogecoin millionaire, who was, I think he said he was $15,000 or $30,000 in credit card debt. He blew up all his credit cards, bought Dogecoin, took the rally of Dogecoin to $3 million, decided that he wouldn't sell. He's not going to do anything. And only to realize a year after, his portfolio is now at $300,000. Because he don't know what he's doing. He got emotional. He's riding the social wave. He's getting going in, operating based on his feelings and the rhetoric he's trying to put out there about his loyalty to this coin that he doesn't own and he doesn't control all the variables for. And because of that, he didn't even put $1 million cash away. He didn't take any out. He's in a better position, but he's losing money unnecessarily. He didn't diversify. He's not sitting on 25 pieces of real estate. He's not sitting on 2 pieces of real estate. Because he doesn't understand what to do when it comes on to handling situations like these. That's why they say information is a commodity. If you don't know what to do, if you don't understand what you're doing, and if you're not willing to accept that you need to leverage something or someone else in areas that you don't understand, then if you're in the good times, it will be short-lived. And if you're in the bad times, you will be destroyed. Have a good day, guys. Always a pleasure. Take care. See you on the next podcast.